taking place, breaking norms, sudden trends, wage word of the day, uncontained, making space, cultivating grace. Yeah. Filling space, converging minds on the same. Be alright, be alright. Life is strange, full of pain. Joy and happiness is all the same. But you have to reclaim. Become your best self. Stop tripping off what people say. Don't you know it's gonna be a brighter day, brighter day, brighter day, brighter day. Lift your hands. Do it, y'all. Come on, better, 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 better. Better days are coming. Better days are coming. Better, 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 better. Taking place, breaking norms, sudden trends, wage word. I'm just talking. I'm just talking and ain't saying nothing because I have myself on mute. So, Way's word of the day. So thankful and grateful to be in this space with each and every one of you. Our sound should be good. So make sure that you tag, text, and tell somebody. Come on, everybody, tag, text, and tell somebody. Hit those hearts and hit those likes. All of that stuff is important in terms of what we're trying to do. It's Wellness Wednesday, so I'm excited about that. And I hope that you are excited about it as well. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's Wellness Wednesday. Yeah. So, hey, tag, text, and tell somebody. Go ahead and do it real quick. Hit those hearts and those likes. I don't see you doing it. We can't move no further now until you start hitting those hearts and those likes real quick. Yeah, I need you to do that. We're ready to go. Got Leanna Winstead in the building. I hope you all are excited that she's in the building, just like I'm excited that she's in the building. Wade's word of the day, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 8 p.m. every night. Nita Holmes, thank you for coming into the space as well. Hey, get a little vibe here, real. I got to get y'all getting a little energy and everything. So let's try to create a vibe real quick.
party with me. Guess what? When I see you, yeah, yeah. Hey, Cole, I get a little happy when I see you. What? When I
Yeah, come on now.
see you,
I need y'all to go and get with us. It's Wellness Wednesday. We're excited to be in the space. Yeah, when I see you, come
I
on.
put your picture on my mirror.
Yeah, right where you are.
When somebody says your name,
Everybody feeling well,
my
doing
stomach
well,
is a
trying
pain.
to
See
be
you
well.
walk in my
Yeah,
direction.
that's
I
what we
go
all
the
trying to
other
do.
way.
We got a wonderful
I start to
conversation.
stutter when I
Come on, get
speak.
with us.
Try to
Hey!
stand, but my knees go weak. What's happening to me? Anybody, can you tell me what it means? I lay my head on my pillow. He got me staring out the window. Wish on a star for a sign. That's the reason why. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. Hey, see you. Hey, Marlon, you sexy boy. Hey, hold on. When I see you. Hey,
All right, I
fellas,
think
listen.
y'all picking up the vibe. I think y'all picking up the vibe. So help me welcome into the space none other than my co-host for the night, Lee Anna Winstead. Y'all know what it is. It's Wellness Wednesday.
Trying to move back a little bit. I got it close up in the mud.
What is going on this evening? What is going on?
How you doing? How you feeling?
Man, I'm feeling good. Everybody show Leanna some love. A little bit of cheers. Yay! Now I think everybody feeling the vibe like we feeling the vibe. You feeling the vibe?
Absolutely. I'm feeling the
Yeah.
vibe.
Yeah, I don't think they feeling the vibe. I think we need to hit them with it one more time. I don't think I can because I think I dropped it out. Oh, no, here it is. Let's hit them with that vibe one more time.
I scribble X and O's on my notebook, checking how my hair and my nails look. I feel myself up in the zone. I get nervous when you call. Say I'm not home. See your face. I hear my favorite song.
All right, I think they ready now. What? Hey.
I wonder if you know, or do you have a clue?
I think they ready now. Here we go. What we do?
doing?
I think they ready now. Leanna, what's going on? What's your word? What's your word for the night? How you feeling? Talk to us real
I
quick.
am feeling pretty good. This phone does it every time. It doesn't do it until the screen is timed out. Here we go. So I am doing well. Today is Wednesday. I've been happy all day. So you see you trying to play with me, right?
Yeah, you good though. I mean, we hear
Here
you.
we go.
Okay. You up. I still need some folk to hit those hearts and those likes and to tag somebody tonight. I need you to go ahead and do that real quick. Go ahead and do that. Yeah. So it's Wednesday, man. It's Wellness Wednesday. I mean, I look forward to, this conversation every week. I don't know about you. I think that is getting better and better and better. We have an opportunity just to chop it up and talk about all things wellness. And my cough is getting a little bit better. I think I
Good.
shared it with you. It was medicine related, and so something
Yeah.
my doctor prescribed, and that mess had me coughing. I thought I was going crazy. I'm like, what in the world is going on? But
Yeah. And it sneaks up on you too. So
yeah,
I'm glad you caught it though.
Yeah, it sneaks up on you, but definitely feeling a lot better and all of that good stuff. And so I'm grateful and thankful for that. That I'm feeling well. Aisha, what's going on? Jessica Simmons, what's going on? I don't see y'all. I'm trying to stall because I'm trying to get y'all to tag. That's what we're doing here. You know what I mean?
Amen.
I don't really work on patience, but I'm trying to be patient with y'all tonight. You follow what I'm saying? We're trying to get everybody well. What's the first word for tonight? Quit playing with that phone. Just leave it alone. You good?
Man, listen. I don't even understand what's going on tonight.
No,
Sorry.
you good.
It must
You
be
good.
something good. Somebody gonna be blessed.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You right. You right. So talk to us. What's on your mind? What do you want to share with us today?
So, did you know that, well, people make up all these sorts of holidays and these awareness months. Did you know that July is National Minority Mental Health Awareness Month?
I did not. I did not know that
Me
because
either.
because I'm
I've
thinking
worked in
wellness is
mental health.
every day.
Yeah, exactly. But just for us, we're supposed now they've got today is hot dog day. I've heard about
Okay.
that. They make up a holiday quick. But this is something that I think is super important. And I think we all should hone into what our mental awareness is. But
Okay.
they suppress it. Like I could care less about a hot dog day. I'd rather my fellow minorities to have good mental health. Excuse us. Excuse us.
Say
So,
what?
yeah. Oh, you
Yeah.
gotta. I'm sorry. I have, my baby's here, and we
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
great
It's
coming
okay.
to see you. So we're live
It's,
streaming together. So,
yeah.
you
Yeah.
know.
It's all good. All good. It happens to me. So it's all good. This is live. So whatever happens, it happens. We ain't gonna trip. We done seen a little bit of everything operating in these social media streets. So yeah, don't be pressed about it. Sometimes it creates a moment when that happens. You know what I mean? And
For
so
sure.
so don't it's no big deal. And we operating in our authentic self, right? And so you got the grands.
Absolutely.
I think you got the grandkids with you got your grandkids with you,
Yeah.
whatever. See, that's a beautiful
Yeah.
thing. See,
And
it's a
Molly
beautiful
coming through making bird sounds. So
See, it's a beautiful thing. You feel what I'm saying?
it's a
See,
beautiful thing.
when the organic happens, right? Right when the organic
For
happens,
sure.
right? You
For
know,
sure.
yeah, yes.
So, one of the ways I just wanted to remind the folks because I know we're pressed for time. It's only a little bit of time, but one of the things that we've been speaking about, just taking the precautions and the necessary steps to be all right with you to feel well. And we understand, for me anyway,
Mhm.
we know that race or identity that shouldn't separate us in mental health issues, concerns, or crisis. However, the care that is received is much different. So we
Mhm.
have to start instituting and instilling in ourselves and in our families the way to get well for yourself because they're not going to do it for us.
Right.
And the way things are moving around, there's more anxiety, there's more heart issues. It's the foods that we eat. And I can't impress upon anybody enough that we need to change our diets
Hmm.
for real.
Hmm.
So,
Hmm.
that's one of the things. And moving, the same things over and over again.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I do want to challenge everybody because I wasn't aware of it, but I want to challenge everybody that's listening. Find somebody, even if it's just yourself, and you
Okay.
post it in honor of National Minority Mental Health Month or someone that you think is a champion that overcame something. We don't have to be, put everybody's business out, but if you want to big somebody up, hashtag live streaming together, find somebody in honor of this month because we didn't know about it. So let's be the ones to create some change and do something about it.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and and in recognition, right? In recognition, one, um, we're beginning to speak to the taboo of it all, right? Because oftentimes, when we think about, wellness, when we think about health, when we think about specifically mental health, that's kind of taboo in our communities, right?
Yeah.
It's this notion of folks are afraid to seek therapy, embarrassed by all of those particular things. This whole notion of pray everything out. Um, and so it's critically important as we acknowledge that, as we acknowledge this week or this day as you're speaking to, that we also recognize that it's okay when you're wrestling with challenges as it relates to depression, as it relates to some other things, that it's okay to seek help, that it's okay to seek help, that you don't have to kind of bury yourself and look internally, especially if you get to a space and a place where you cannot kind of deal with it or handle it. Reach out. And certainly, yes, prayer is a wonderful thing, but then we also understand sometimes it takes somebody who's skilled at dealing with some of these illnesses as well, because I don't want to get biblical, but here's the reality, right? Jesus is up on the mountain, his disciples are down at the bottom of the hill, and a father brings somebody to his disciples who is dealing with some mental health things. One might even consider, say, that individual boy was crazy. And so when Jesus and them come back down after having this great encounter, Molly, I ain't mad at you, homie. I ain't mad at you. After having this great, that's why I love live. After having this great encounter, right? Having this great encounter, Peter wants to stay there to come down, and the Father says, your disciples could not meet my need. And then he speaks to something larger than their understanding. He says, this kind comes out by adding this, right?
Yeah.
And so the same thing.
That's the Bible, y'all.
Yeah, the same thing holds true in our, context. That's right. Sister Frank, you should not be embarrassed if you need to seek a level of professionalism. There's nothing wrong with that. And we want to, remove the stigma specifically, in our community, right? Black folks, among black folks, that, there's no crime, right?
Yeah.
You ought not to be ashamed if you need to speak to somebody, if you need to have a conversation with somebody. And from my perspective, that's always better than trying to, handle, some things you need external help instead of always trying to handle things or every single thing, if you will, by yourself, because that leads to, isolation and all of those things. And I'm a big believer that we're called to community, and what that community looks like, right? It's a community of help. It's a community of hope. It's a community of sacrifice, and all of those things tie together. And so if we're in community, the reality is I should not be floating out here in isolation by myself. What is the point of talking about community if I'm singular or isolated, or in some respect insulated? In other words, I'm blocking myself from the larger community. So
Yeah.
I would have us think about it, in that way. What's your thoughts?
I mean, I 110% agree. I feel myself that I put myself into an isolation. And I think the only thing that really, got me all the way together to start to peek back out, is the I ams, my affirmation, that speaking life over myself. I truly believe that. But in essence, I think that a great idea was born in that isolation too. But I also recognize if you get too close to an edge that you have to find someone. And I love that on Sunday's message was so amped and so hyped, but folks are putting in the chat, I'm available to pray. I'm available, if you need to talk, as a good listening ear. And that's what we are. That's what we've always been. But sometimes it's not always available because we all have our measure of whatever we got going on. But I wanted to create a space where what I feel like I needed, I didn't have. So in my I ams, all of that birthed this here, and this is where I'm growing my confidence. So I thank you. But speaking life over myself really.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely. Now again, there's a difference between, from my perspective, right? There's a difference between taking some time for yourself. I think we all need to do that, right? There are moments when we need to move away from the crowd, when we need to do that heart work, as I always say, which is the hard work, right? Begin to look internally, right? And begin to come into agreement with ourselves in terms of who we are, the purpose, and the plan that we believe that God has for our life, direction, asking ourselves these critical questions. Listen, I think that's important. Sometimes you have to move away. I'm just challenging folk in this moment when you get to a place where it's beyond kind of this looking internal and trying to wrestle with purpose and direction, where you can handle some of that. That's what I'm talking about
Yeah,
when you need to seek community and you need to seek, um, you know, professional help in terms of
for
that.
sure.
That's what I would suggest. So yeah, there's always moments I take them, you take them, and it depends on me. I'm an early morning person, so in the early morning is when I'm doing my reflective work and those things which are challenging me and questioning everything around me, even people to
Yes,
a certain extent, right? Whether it's around trust issues, whether it's around love issues, what is it me or is it them? Why am I so mad? Why am I, all of these type of things. But if you get to a place where you are looking internally and it becomes like a rabbit hole that you can't find your way back up out of, this is what I'm talking about.
that's
In terms
it
of,
right there.
you know,
That's it. Getting reminding yourself of where, who, how dope you actually are. Clearing out the mess is okay because that catapult forward is going to be great. But in there, whatever you need, absolutely reach out
yeah,
and get. A neutral party to help you put the puzzle pieces together is
yeah,
essential. Sometimes, if you just can't figure it out, a neutral person is always going to be essential, but always find somebody that you trust and you feel a connection with too.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Berlin was speaking in the comment section to just trying to be mindful of what's happening with your body, right? I gave the example earlier
Yeah.
where I'm like, investigating, and then finally I'm like, yo, something ain't right. And then I'm thinking about all of the things, that I've been doing. Then I looked at the medicine and then I'm like, yo, what's the side effects of this stuff? And then that's when I got the determination. That's when I put in the call to my doctor. And so likewise, in her situation, it's the same thing, kind of being mindful and then recognizing those moments when, okay, something ain't right as it relates to that. And even today, you pointed out, one thing as it relates to me, and so that's community. That's helping, right? That's helping. And that's what I'm, something for me to be aware of, right? Where I'm just like, oh, you know, I'm working my way through this thing. That's what it was. You're like, whoa, what type,
Yes.
you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so I think that's a good thing. And again, that's this whole notion of community. Community recognizes um, that we all need moments of space, but we don't isolate ourselves so much that we disconnect from community. I
For
think that's a
sure.
better way to say it in terms of being well and getting whole. Um, there is a recognition that some things I have to wrestle through by myself, right? I
Yeah.
get that. But but even as I'm wrestling through by myself, there's still a connected piece to the community, just in terms of, even if you don't tell me what's going on, it's just a simple thing of, hey, just be thinking about me a little bit more this week. You don't have to be so
Yes.
super duper spiritual. I need everybody to be praying for me. No, hey, I just need y'all to just be thinking about me this week. You know what I mean?
Right. But I think it's easier from your standpoint to be like, hey, send out, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Pray a little extra for me because everybody is,
yeah,
when Rev says something, you fall in
yeah,
line. You know what
yeah,
I'm saying?
yeah.
But I don't think it's always easy. Not that it's not
Mhm,
accessible, but it's not always easy for certain people to even reach out, and learning how to reach out and being okay and understanding that LHBC in this family, we are a super safe space. But even if it's just one, you know, but I do appreciate that fact, now because I just see things, from the conversations with you in just a completely different light. And one more thing I wanted to add to, because my brain
mhm,
just be jumping all over the place, because I'm
mhm.
low key excited because my confidence is building. But
Yeah.
anyway, sir, um, I would like, my dream is to get people who are on at least 3 medications.
Mhm.
If I can get you down to one, if I can help you, show you some ways to get you down to just one medication and you can do the work yourself, I would love that. So that's my prayer. That's my intention. So hopefully somebody will be ready to, take some of these nuggets as we go forward and
Yeah. Well,
run after wellness.
I think that's all. I mean, that's my goal. That's how, if you really, from my perspective, this is just me as an individual talking in this moment, but I think it's reflective of community. So I want to speak to a couple things that you said. Your earlier point, to me, that's the problem. If the only voice that resonates with everybody is my voice, then we're not building good community. You understand what I'm saying? And that's the challenge. That's the challenge of our faith and our faith connections and our faith community, is this kind of not seeing one another, but looking at somebody like me as being the sole answer to everybody's prayer. I think that's dysfunctional and toxic. But if we can get to a place where as community, I should be able to reach out to anybody who I'm deeming is in community with me in an authentic way. Now I know, just as Jesus had a Judas amongst us, there's a chance there could be some Judases amongst us. But the reality is, in order to really love, you always have to understand there's a possibility of betrayal. This is what makes this love that Jesus has for us so great, because it's surrounded with betrayal. You understand what I'm saying? Very people he's coming to deliver are the very people who are looking at him and saying, you're not who you say you are looking at him and saying, you're not good enough to be in our club.
Yeah.
That's the Pharisee, y'all. I'm giving y'all some Bible study.
That's the Bible, y'all.
On Wednesdays for some of y'all who don't know, right? But the larger picture is, at the end of the day, he says this. He says, I must go that something else might come. So not only does that speak about changing of the guard, right? I can't be here always in the physical sense. Somebody else is going to come and continue the mantle that I have picked up. Not only, because the first thing people are thinking is the Holy Spirit. That's true, but also them doggone disciples, the rest of them. Peter and all of them have to take up now the mantle, if you will, of Jesus and do what he said. Go ye therefore, right? And so my position is, as we build and grow in community, the greatest sign of our growth in community is our ability to move beyond the apprehension and just simply have a basic conversation. Again, you don't have to tell everybody what you got going on, but simply, hey, think about me a little bit more this week. And that person says, no problem. You know what I mean? Or pray for me a little bit this week, a little bit extra this week. And that person say, I got you. Let's not wait till I'm not in your presence or on the phone with you. I'll pray for you right now, right? And so that's the desire that I have ultimately, that we would be cultivating, right? And growing within the construct of one another, and being able to see one another as one another is too, right? And so I don't, wellness is getting to a place where I can be authentically true in terms of who I am, and you can too. And that might not always mean that we're going to agree, but we agree on this point. That's who you are. And this is who I am. And that's okay. You understand what I'm saying? And that's okay. And that's okay. So, you may not be like me. You want to be churchy, and you want everybody to think you listen to gospel songs every day and you praying every hour on the hour. That's you. That ain't me. You understand what I'm saying? But sometimes it becomes difficult for people to understand, that's you. It's me. You understand what I'm saying?
But I don't think many people would even admit it the way that you're admitting it. Like, we're human, and for a long time, people had to curtail that line dance, or they didn't want nobody from the church to see them doing a line dance at a function or listening to certain type of music. So it's refreshing to hear you. Like I said before, I love the transparency, because that teaches us the human side. Because a lot of times we look at you like, oh, you don't go through it. You know what I mean? But I love it.
I remember
what-
I remember I was at a cookout or something, and yeah, it was a cookout or something. And you know, my thing is people are who people, you know, people gonna do what people gonna do. I don't, you know, it is what it is, you know. I'm there to get a little piece of chicken or whatever. I hear some good music, I'm gonna bob my head too. You know, that's just the honest truth, right?
Yeah.
And somebody walks up to me and they say, you know, kind of whisper to me and say, hey, you know, if you see me out there cutting the rug, don't think differently of me. And I said, hell, I might go out there and cut one too. You know what I mean? So for me, that's just too much of nothingness to be so concerned,
Yeah.
right? Because one, I ain't got no heaven or hell to put anybody in, right? I'm just pointing people to somebody. You know, we're in the line of not Jesus, we're in the line of John the Baptist. We pointing people to somebody. You understand what I'm saying? And so I just got a laugh out of it. I mean, a chuckle out of it. You know, I said it, you know, I was being
Oh my God.
facetious, but I got a chuckle out of it because I was like, yo, that's a problem. To me, that just feels like a problem, right? Because if I'm not here, you still gonna do what you gonna do.
Right.
And you know,
What's going to happen?
yeah, so I'm not, you know, so I'm not mad about it, you know what I mean? Because, hey, you know, every now and then I got to hear God, you know what I mean? So, you know what I'm saying?
I don't know. Catch a vibe. Go somewhere and catch a vibe.
Yeah, so every now and then I gotta, it is what it is, right? And so that's all, that's all good. And then the second point in terms of, I went longer on that first point than the second point, but let me speak to that.
That's okay. When the hand started going like this, I knew the reverend was ready to sneak in, but you caught
And
yourself.
then the second point is, I mean, that's really our goal, right? And that's been, being put in place specifically with me for a while, just in terms of what we're eating, and even kind of like in some of our bigger gatherings pre-COVID. And I was saying, listen, man, we got to get down to these smaller portions. You know, we got to be thinking about what we're serving, because, some of the food that we serve and folk is killing folk, leading to certain things, high blood pressure, cholesterol, and all of those things. So I was trying to lead by example by saying, listen, everything in moderation. You know what I mean? We don't have to
Everything
take
in moderation, but the stuff that they're feeding us is so horrible for our bodies.
Yeah. Well, you know what I mean. But my point
Yeah,
was,
so I'm gonna jump off the deep end and just be like, I don't want to nerd out on you right now.
but my point was, we don't have to make so much food where everybody can take 10 plates home.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? Just enough. Just enough for people to feel, like they had some good fellowship and all of those particular things, but we don't want to be a part of the problem. And so we know that, just some of the things uniquely tends to lead to that. And so if we are operating in spaces where we're trying to bring about wellness, then we have to look at all of those things, right? How we operating mentally, right? How are we dealing with mental health, as you say? How are we dealing with our spirituality and what that means in totality? Is this just something, we come to church to do, to sound deep and to sound holy and all of this kind of nonsense? Is that really our spirituality? And then physical, right? What is going on with our body? Because it's one thing to be shouting and dancing, and then there's another thing, to be so strong in that, and then another thing to not have any level of how do I want to say it, restrictions when it comes to food. You're just eating everything. You know what I mean? So you're not thinking about it or thinking through some of those things. And again, things in moderation, reaching out to your doctor. We're just giving examples, but obviously you always want to check with your doctor before you're making any changes. But yeah, we want to be about wellness in all three of those areas, not just be so deep, Doc, you're deep. But then, you know, you don't know pull away from the table 101. You know what I mean?
Right.
You know Genesis
Right.
1-on-1, but you don't know pull away from the table 101. Or you don't know you know, you don't know how to get into a place where you can deal with maybe your anger and different things like that, right? So we want to wrestle with all of those things because we want people to be well, not just in church on Sunday, but every day of their lives, and in every way possible. Go ahead.
So I have a question for you. How do you find the balance between that? So say you have a gift, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you also like to chop it up with your family, you know what I'm saying? Not going over the deep end, but how do you line it up where they're going to listen to you? If you're if you're not operating in full clergy or something like that, or if you're just someone, Auntie Maybell could tell dreams, but nobody listened to it because they thought, you know what I'm saying? How do you find the balance between your anointing and just being a regular human?
Because I am just a regular human. you,
Yeah.
you understand what I'm saying? There's a recognition of purpose, right? And calling. But I can't be such a narcissist that I think that I'm walking around 24 hours, 7 days a week, operating in an anointing. You understand? And this is why we're so confused a lot of times in terms of understanding anointing, even in the preaching moment, because people think anointing is being able to shout and holler and wail and all of those particular things. But that's wow, that ain't got nothing to do with anointing, because somebody could
Right.
be doing all of that and ain't nobody being touched. And then another person come up and speak in a straight monotone voice, yada, 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 and somebody really receive, right? So that's style. So even when I think about the calling that's on my life, one, it's humbling because here's the reality. There is a level of narcissism where you declare you standing and you declaring what he says, while yet understanding the frailness of who you are, right? The frailness of who you are. And so you have to understand the balance within that. And I didn't always understand that based on the models that came before, that came before. But now I'm clear about that, right? Now I'm clear about that. And so my goal is just to be. I understand that there are certain spaces I operate in certain things, and then there's certain spaces when I just want to be me. When I'm sitting down to eat after I say grace, I don't necessarily all the time want to be having a theological discussion about anything. I may want to talk about politics, and I can talk about that to the chagrin, my family and everything like that. But that's just understanding that. And then in terms of respect and people respecting you, the reality is you can't demand any of that from anybody anyway. You just have to be who you are, and then understand that everybody may not be your crew. You understand what I'm saying? David goes to sit up under the king, Samuel, but he's at the table around, but those folk ain't his crew. Samuel's son takes a liking to David, but that ain't his crew, right? And Samuel runs him up out of there. That's not his crew. And while on the run, he enters into a cave and he finds, a ragtag bunch of folk, and they become his crew. You understand what I'm saying? Who are willing to fight with him, who are willing to stand with him, challenge him, and then even sometimes look at him and say, man, you done brought us somewhere, Ziglag. You done brought us somewhere, man, and we don't know about this, and all of our family, and we ready to stone you, homie, because if we hadn't been with you, this kind of stuff wouldn't have happened. And then in that moment, the Bible says he encourages himself to gain another level of understanding, even with the people who may be challenging him in this moment, because they fail to understand what's happening in that moment, right? And so you just have to be clear about that. And so whether it's in front of family, whether it's in front of friends, I was just at a wedding, and one of my aunts came up to me and said something. I said, "Man, you studying these folk out here? You know what I mean? If I hear some good music, I'm gonna dance. Right? It is what it is. I'm not tripping because I'm not trying to be something that other people think that I should be. I just want to fulfill the calling and the walk that I believe that God has on my life in this moment. And it's not as others would think that it is. And I'm cool with them doing what they do. But I'm gonna do what I believe to be true in this moment. And so that's kind of how I see it. And so that's what I would say to anyone, be clear about what you're called into, and then move in that. And if you are clear about it, the reality is some people gonna get it and some people are not gonna get it. Some people gonna get it and some people are not going to get it. And you just have to be clear about your crew.
Amen.
That's just that's just what it is. You got to be clear about your crew. And again, some people gonna get it, some people are not gonna get it. And what I tell people all the time, and that's cool. You know what I mean? That's cool, because no matter of me trying to help you to get me, ultimately that's just going to lead to frustration, right? So
Yeah.
if you show up and you here, you got to want to be here. It's not something that any of us can make you be there, because there are challenges about being connected in any construct and in any. So you look at a mega church, right? And so a lot of people are going there, but I would argue that the majority of those folks don't get intimate time and communication with the leader of that church. But
Right.
that's a conscious choice that they make. They know they're not going to get that. You understand what I'm saying? While others say, "Man, I love the atmosphere and everything like that, but I want, to be able to go to lunch with my pastor. I want to be able to, have a conversation with my pastor," and that's good too, right? So you just have to navigate through that, and that's how I think about it. And so I'm not trying to be so heavenly bound that I can't be no earthly good.
Yeah. I love when
And
you say that. It's like a, hey, remember, it's like a bell that rings for sure.
yeah. And so that's all. And again, that's a process of getting to a place of wellness with me, because for so long, I'm miserable making other people happy, miserable. You know what I mean? And this is not and notwithstanding being effective, right? But also being challenged because people just didn't understand my flow. They didn't. Some people wanted me to be this traditional guy, Bible toting, 6-piece suit wearing everywhere I go, and I'm just not that. I got an uncle. Every time he's a pastor. Every time I see him, he in a suit. That's his flow. But I tell him all the time, man, that ain't me no more. You know what I mean? So we got Keith's funeral, and I'm being challenged to find a suit coat. I'm being honest, and all of that, which I probably won't. But you understand what I'm saying?
I do.
So be clear about what you believe that your purpose, and then just move in it. And then I just believe that God will add to you as you move and as you walk in your purpose. And some will come, some will go, but that's the nature of being human, right? And that's for various reasons and various situations, because some people come in and they thought they could, handle my flow, but they come in thinking they want to change me or you or whoever, right? And then when they realize they can't do that, then frustration kicks in. And so that's why I've always been the type where I say, I'm happy twice. Happy to see you coming, happy to see you going. Because there's various
And I
reasons
wish you
why you
well.
come, and there are different reasons for why you go. And why you go is not always because you're mad and you're upset. Sometimes you are, but sometimes it's just that time. And it's okay. And
Yeah.
but in my experience, it's been my experience that it's harder on other folk when they leave, and then they think I'm supposed to break down and cry, and I just, no,
That's not going to happen.
no, I just, I don't, so I don't. So,
I'm going to pray for
that's not
you.
because I don't love. That doesn't mean that I may not miss, but no, I understand. I got to keep moving. You know what I mean?
Fare you well.
So that's that. We done been on a long time, 9 o'clock. I see some folk have been hanging with us. Sister Verlin, I appreciate that. Maine Barnes, I
Hi,
appreciate
Sister Verlin.
Nina Holmes, Jonathan French, we appreciate that. Man, I done kept y'all on, so let's go on home. Let's rock out with this. Y'all let me know if you're feeling it. Here we go.
Yeah. Do y'all feel all right this evening? We're gonna take it like we in church. Oh, I was cool in them streets. Yeah, I was cool in them clubs. Real talk, I wasn't thinking nothing about love. I didn't want nobody trying to partake in my stuff. I thought an occasional one night stand would be enough. I met this girl, she ruined my philosophy. My heart skips a beat when she comes around. I never thought that I'd be ready to settle down. See, I was about to find
Hey,
myself
we got it.
alone,
You know what it is. It's
but I
ladies
found
for all the time.
myself in love.
Love. Hey,
I'm ready for a love of my own.
we gotta go. Show Leanna some love
Even
tonight.
though I want to, I
Bless
just
us
see
tonight.
us
So
together.
we appreciate
I'd
her.
rather have a
I feel the
love
love in the
than
room.
have a life for. Oh, yeah.
We
I was
gotta go.
raised by a good
Love y'all so
one.
much. Make sure
Mama told me what a real
Yeah.
man should be.
Love you so much.
She
Leanna.
said, son, pick one and treat her like me. Hey,
We love you.
I took all of her wisdom and I used it for selfish gain. And I know if she saw this pimping, she'd be ashamed. I found this girl, she ruined my philosophy. My heart skips a beat when she comes up.